Grenadines, WEFM is SVG.
25 minutes on 11 o'clock here in St. Vincent and the Grenadines. You're locked on to WEFM 99.9, the Clean Fresh Sound, and this is your Issue Time program. Remember, Issue Time is an interactive program, so the numbers to call are 457 9997 if you're calling from a local landline, 532 9997 if you're calling from a digital cell phone, or you can call us or send us a message on WhatsApp at 457 9997. The Issue Time program is being hosted by Mr. Cecil Ryan and Mr. Philbert John. Good morning to you, Cecil.
Good morning to you, Karen, and good morning to Philbert, and good morning to all our listeners on the various platforms. Greetings and guidance to you, and we are hoping that you're having a wonderful day today. May 17, 2026. It's good to be back with you another Sunday morning on Issue at Hand. And we extend, as I said before, greetings and guidance to the WEFM family and, of course, the Issue at Hand family and all the families of all the other stations that are linked with us this morning. Star FM and Garfin Radio, we're happy to be with you. And we invite your participation in our program today. Even if we may not agree on issues, we hope you would understand the various points of view and be patient. And, in some cases, you may wish to express solidarity, or in others, you may wish to just move on. In any event, we welcome you. Pijan?
Yes, Cecil, thank you and good morning. Good morning to Kiran. Good morning to all of St. Vincent and the Grenadines, and to all persons listening to WEFM wherever you are, on whatever platform you may be getting us. It's good to be back as we engage in another edition of Issue at Hand, the only program of its kind at the moment. We want to wish you all the best, and as usual, look forward to some interesting discussion as we pinpoint some issues of interest to all. Cecil?
Yes, Philbert, just to let all listeners and our partners know that we don't have a leading guest speaker today, but as usual, we know that there are persons who are competent and able and willing always to chime in very richly on the points that we raise in our discussion. And so we want to reach out, especially greetings to Professor Justin Robinson. I don't know if he's still in St. Vincent. He was here for Thursday and Friday. We also want to reach out especially and give greetings to our brother and comrade and friend and colleague, Lansford Weeks. Greetings to you, Lansford. I hope you're doing well this morning. And of course, we also want to give a shout out to Dr. Richard Cox. Good morning to you and welcome to the program, and also to our other colleagues and friends and comrades. Fitzhuggins, greetings. Welcome to the program. I hope you're doing well. My brother Chris Ralph, good morning and welcome to the program. And I've been calling only the brothers. I want to reach out to the sisters, of course. Miss Harald, good morning to you and welcome to the program. And our sisters all across the country and across the world, we greet you especially as we did last week when we focused on issues to do with Mother's Day last week, and we had some nice input from people like Lavon. Good morning to you, Lavon. Hope you're doing okay. Anita, greetings and welcome to the program this morning. We hope you're tuned in with us this morning. And all the other sisters who shared with us. The sister from Brighton, I think she's from Brighton, the farmer, still farmer, 83 years old and still farming. Greetings to you and welcome to the program. We hope you're doing well this morning. All my nieces and nephews, my sisters, brothers, blood and non-blood, good morning to you and welcome to the program wherever you are. And the management of the radio stations, good morning, welcome to the program. We hope you're doing well. Greetings to Brother Bristol out in Overland. Brother Bristol, hope you're doing okay this morning. Also, our good friend and comrade and colleague, Brother Mason, good morning to you. Welcome to the program. We hope you're feeling okay this morning. And I mean, not the youth, not the young Mason in California, Cocho, good morning to you and welcome to the program, but Senior Mason in Layu, good morning and welcome to our program. And all across the country. And I have to give special greetings to Mrs. Walker. We met just, I think it was on Thursday, and she was saying she's a regular listener. And our friend Lorna, good morning, welcome to the program, and we're happy to have you on board with us this morning. All across the country, at home and abroad, good morning and greetings. A lovely day in St. Vincent and the Grenadines today. Philbert?
Yes, a lovely day.
Yeah.
I just want to single out one person for now, Mr. Angus Denny.
Okay.
From Paul's Avenue, Rose Place.
Okay.
He met me and reminded me that he listens every Sunday, so I promise I will shout him.
Okay.
So I hope you're doing well, Angus.
I know him well, yeah. Hope he's doing well.
Yes.
Philbert, a number of interesting, well, as I said, we don't have a guest, appointed guest, but we have comments to make on a number of articles in the paper. And, well, as usual, we do have today, again, as we did last week, the Caribbean connection with WIN calendar. So I'm going to start off with that for the people to hear.
This is Caribbean Connection News. It's great to have you in company. I'm WIN Calendar, and we begin our coverage this week in St. George's, Grenada. Prime Minister the Honorable Deacon Mitchell has voiced concern about the decline of males in education, as he highlighted an increase in school dropouts and fewer men pursuing higher education. PM Mitchell says the problem begins with the way boys are parented and socialized within society. He noted that young men must also be accountable for their actions and decisions as they grow.
So young men accountable for their actions, then we run the risk that exactly what we're seeing will continue to happen, which is a significant absence of men in leadership positions, a significant absence of men in societal positions, and a pattern of behavior where men don't invest in themselves, and so they will fail, meaning they will not be able to enter academic institutions of higher learning. They will not be able to acquire the skills for technical and vocational success and offer entrepreneurship or for business success. So that is part of the wider societal challenge that we face.
PM Mitchell also highlighted distinct differences in the way girls and boys are raised, stating that girls are often closely guided and nurtured from a young age, while boys are frequently expected to think things out on their own. He added that this mindset has contributed significantly to the challenges many young men face today, and it is an issue which society must urgently address.
The way in which our boys are parented is something that needs to be significantly addressed. We can't leave boys on their own and just hope that they'll grow. And I don't mean any disrespect to what I'm about to say. Girls are not left to just grow up on their own. There is significantly more emphasis, I think, in making sure that all through teenage years that girls are nurtured. and that a greater emphasis is placed on a value system, on instilling a value system in them. We seem to think that boys will figure it out on their own. And so questions like emotional intelligence, regulating your emotional, taking responsibility for yourself, even just physically taking care of yourself, even when it comes to things like healthcare.
Prime Minister Mitchell emphasized the importance of stronger support systems, guidance, and mentorship for boys to help improve education outcomes and future opportunities for young men across the country. From Georgetown, Guyana, Dr. Kayan Skeet, a senior official of the Srinath Ramphal Center for International Trade Law, Policy and Services at the KPhil campus of the University of the West Indies, says she had been hopeful that the Caribbean Community Secretary General, Dr. Carla Burnett, would have played a more meaningful role in uniting the region during her first term in office.
I started out optimistic, ladies and gentlemen. I was hopeful in my article that Dr. Barnett would have helped to lessen the CARICOM MDC-LDC divide that often fragments us even more, as she's a national from Belize. I was hopeful that as a national from Belize, she understood the transportation woes of the Caribbean. To get to Belize, you have to go through Miami, or you have to go through Panama. I was also hopeful, as a female, she would be able to rally the troops and explain to them the need to be pragmatic and focus on regional goals and visions. I was hopeful for Dr. Barnett, and more hopeful because she has experience with the regional institutions in CARICOM. She used to work in CARICOM Secretariat, but she also was the vice president of the Barbados-based Caribbean Development Bank. So she understood the tensions coming from a regional institution. But alas, politics set in, and Dr. Barnett stayed in her lane.
Barnett's first term in office ends in July, and her reappointment has caused friction within the 15-member regional integration grouping, with Trinidad and Tobago, for example, insisting that it will not recognize the Belizean economist after August, even as regional countries maintained that she had been properly reappointed to the position for another 5 years. International relations expert Dr. Kayan Skeet, addressing a conference organized by the Center for International and Border Studies under the theme Navigating the Future, Guyana, the Caribbean, and Latin America in a Changing Global Environment, said,
Now, in this space, we need a region where we can lead, and we lead based on principles and visions and plans for this space. Now, don't get me wrong, CARICOM, as we started out by saying, is a paradox. We talk about sovereignty of member states, but we still advance in regional integration. So that in itself is a tension. But the fall is clearly evident now because CARICOM has decided to advance the discussion for Dr. Barnett's reappointment earlier this year, and several CARICOM member states seem to support Dr. Barnett, but there are a few member states who are adamant and quite vocal about it.
Apart from Trinidad and Tobago, Antigua and Barbuda and Jamaica believe that Barnett's reappointment should be revisited, while St. Kitts and Nevis, Guyana, Belize, and Dominica have openly backed her and the process that led to her reappointment. News out of Bridgetown, Barbados. Under a new flexible contribution arrangement, self-employed persons can now make their national insurance contributions through 2 new payment platforms. The announcement was made by Minister of Labor, Social Security, and the Third Sector, the Honorable Colin Jordan, at the launch of the National Insurance and Social Security Services Self-Employed and Secure Community Engagement Program.
Effective today, self-employed people can make their national insurance contributions through 2 new payment platforms. The Government of Barbados' own online payment portal, we know it as EasyPay, and also, importantly, the very widely used bill payment service, SurePay. And SurePay is available at a number of locations across the country, I think about 35, and also at surepaybills.com. These 2 new avenues for making payments are now available to the self-employed.
Minister Jordan said the initiative is more than a campaign, describing it as a commitment by the government of Barbados to ensure all working Barbadians have access to social security protection.
The system is now designed to accommodate the seasonal and variable nature of the income flows of self-employed people. I know of the challenges that particularly taxi drivers have. There are periods of the year when you make decent money, sometimes good money, and there are other times when you don't. And if you have a system that assumes that you're making, that is built for employment, and assumes that you're working for the same amount right through the year, then you have a bit of a challenge.
News out of Port of Spain, Trinidad. The Airports Authority of Trinidad and Tobago on Friday night said that a Ukrainian aircraft impounded at the Piarco International Airport after explosives were discovered on board had been given the authorization to leave following extensive investigations by security agencies. In a statement, the Airports Authority of Trinidad and Tobago said that flight CVK 7078 had arrived in Trinidad and Tobago from the Bahamas on May 14th for a technical refueling stop while en route to Cape Verde, with Libya as its final destination. The Airports Authority of Trinidad and Tobago said that officers of the Immigration Division discovered upon the aircraft's arrival that it was transporting explosives which had not been declared, in keeping with established international aviation and security protocols. The aircraft and its Ukrainian crew were subsequently detained pending investigations by several national and international law enforcement and security agencies, including the Customs and Excise Division, Airports Authority Police Force, Special Branch, AirCop, United States Border Investigators, and other national security stakeholders. The Airports Authority of Trinidad and Tobago said that the coordinated probe sought to determine whether all required procedures and regulatory obligations relating to the transportation and declaration of the cargo had been followed. It said following extensive inquiries and assessments, investigators determined that no liability should be attributed to the pilot or crew, and as a result, the aircraft and its crew were cleared to depart Trinidad and Tobago. This is a roundup of news from across the Caribbean, produced by Win Calendar for Caribbean Connection News. Our next stop is Nassau, Bahamas. Prime Minister, the Honorable Philip Davis, says he is disappointed that despite an overwhelming victory in Tuesday's general elections, too many Bahamians stayed away from casting ballots. The Parliamentary Registration Department had said that a record 209,264 people had been registered to vote for the 138 candidates. And Davis said that he is concerned that participation in election is declining. Davis led his Progressive Liberal Party to a second consecutive 5-year term, winning 33 of the 41 seats, with the remainder going to the main opposition Free National Movement. In Grand Bahama, out of more than 30,000 registered voters, nearly 10,000 did not cast a ballot in the 2026 general election. Parliamentary Registration Department consultant Cecil Thompson says just over 20,000 residents participated in the voting process.
One of the downsides of democracy is that you have a choice. White persons did not come out in as large numbers as they came out in the prior elections. I'm talking prior to 2021. I don't have the explanation for it. We were prepared for them in Grand Bahama. We expected hot temperature like was on the advanced poll, but we were blessed. On the 12th, it was not as hot.
Thompson added that one of his growing concerns is that the Bahamas could begin to mirror trends seen in more advanced democracies. PM Davis said the decline in voter participation is already being seen around the region and globally. From Kingston, Jamaica, key stakeholders in the education system say parents and adults who work within the school environment should be held accountable. There are also urgent appeals for more support to be provided to parents, especially those with children on path. President of the Jamaica Teachers Association, Mark Mulaba, says that poor parenting and weak parental support are fueling the violence in school.
Many of our schools are now being asked to compensate for deficits originating outside of the school gates. Teachers are now expected to function as educators, counselors, disciplinarians, social workers, and surrogate parents all at once.
He added that many students entering schools lack supervision, and there is a direct correlation between students who breach their grooming policies, those who receive the PATH benefits, and those who commit infractions. He is therefore making this suggestion.
With respect to the PATH program, you have to now twin it, colleagues, with parental support. And what I am suggesting is that it ought to be mandatory that once the student is on the PATH program, these parents must attend a parental support program to equip them with the skill sets of effective parenting, because it's creating a major challenge in our schools. MPs are choosing individuals to sit on boards, believe it or not. And some of these board members don't have the qualifications. Some of these board members don't even know what a school looks like. The only thing some of them know about running a school is the fact that they used to run up and down in a school when they were there. And the only thing that they know about board and management of board is the fact that they used to sit on a board bench.
Principal of the Pembroke Hall High School, Reverend Claude Ellis, says, in some instances, parents and guardians of students are directly influencing the violent behaviors in students. He said in some cases, students are fully intoxicated before they set foot on the school compound. He cited one recent incident at his school where a beer bottle was found.
I said to myself, boy, the guys who come train at night from the football club drink the beer and then just leave the bottle. So I went over to pick up the bottle, but when I pick up the bottle, it cool. So I said, no, man, something wrong here. So some little girls were sitting at the table, grade 7, and I said, do you know where this bottle came from? And one little girl said, mine, sir. I said, what do you mean is yours? She said, I drink it. Having the conversation with her is a regular thing at home. She get the beer from for come school.
News out of Road Town, Tortola, BVI. At-large Representative, the Honorable Stacey Mathier, wants continued investment in agriculture in the Virgin Islands. Mathier is of the view that the territory must place greater focus on building the sector into a sustainable industry. He said agriculture should move beyond small-scale farming and instead focus on developing agriculture as a viable business sector for the BVI.
So if we go back in the history of the Virgin Islands, from what I know in terms of agriculture, there were moments in Virgin Islands history where you saw heavy investments. You know, if we think back, we can think about the greenhouses that were done by Honorable Omar Hodge, right? He rest in peace. You know, he had the foresight to think of indoor farming and how it could be done. It didn't work out the way we would have wanted it to work out. Irma took those down. But now, you know, if you go on TikTok, you'll see vertical farming. In those plastic containers, they're growing arugula, they're growing lettuce, and you know, you can set up 100 of them, and you can have produce within a few weeks. And the Premier has been talking about doing initiatives like this. The department has been talking about it. So while we're feeding the mind of the people in the Virgin Islands, Kareem, I'm going to be encouraging the Premier as we go through this year to start investing for the body. You know, we have to feed our body, and in order to do it, we have the sand and we have the soil and we have the seed. And it needs to happen. You know, when you look at agriculture itself, we've had extension services over the years where agriculture would train, they would have equipment, and agriculture is definitely at the point where it needs more of an investment in our territory and fisheries.
The at-large representative is also calling on residents to do more to support local farmers. And finally, this story out of Kingstown, St. Vincent and the Grenadines. Minister for Tourism, Civil Aviation and Sustainable Development, Dr. the Honorable Kishore Shallow, officially launched the Love SVG project during a press conference this week. The initiative is being described as a major national effort aimed at improving tourism infrastructure, upgrading facilities, and enhancing visitor services throughout St. Vincent and the Grenadines ahead of the 2026-2027 tourist season. Minister Shallow explained that Love SVG is a 6-month initiative to upgrade and enhance the facilities and the services across the country. The campaign is scheduled to run from May to October 2026 and will conclude just before the start of the new cruise season in November. And that is...
Philbert, I see you smiling along. Well, I myself was smiling. I'll come to that. But first of all, I just want to say towards the end of the audio, which reference to the launch of the I Love St. Vincent project, promotion, if you like, he said that Dr. Minister Shallow launched it. I think he meant really the Ministry of Tourism.
Yeah.
Dr. Shallow spoke, but it can't be he that launched it. I think it's the Ministry of Tourism, properly speaking, that launched the I Love SVG project. So I just want to mention that. But aside from that, there are many things in the audio that's worth responding to. I want to start by, I know you want to take over, but I just want to start by the reference he made to Dr. Barnett and the issues surrounding her continuing appointment at CARICOM. And the person who spoke, Dr. K.Ann Skeet, I think is the person who spoke, sung like sung Bajan by her accent, but she's attached to this institute in Guyana. I think she was being, well, let me put it this way. As far as I'm aware, is it Dr. Barnett to give leadership to the direction on whatever CARICOM is doing? As far as I understand it, is really the heads who must
heads of government.
Yeah, they must set the direction, and Dr. Barnett is to execute those things. She can't cause Dr. Barnett, that is, she can't bridge the gap in terms of unity between the countries of CARICOM. Isn't her responsibility? Is the leadership of CARICOM, the heads of government, that who should engage themselves in such a discussion and set the direction for Dr. Barnett to implement. And so I think that was an unfair criticism of Dr. Skeet, stating her personal expectation and that kind of thing. That was an unfair criticism, and I just wanted to comment on that before we move. Any reaction? Did you know?
Not except the reference to the situation in Jamaica in relation to schools.
Oh no, I allowed to come to that fully, but I was talking about Dr. The reaction of Dr. Skeet to Dr.
No reaction from that.
Yeah. All right. So yes, it's over to you now.
I'm saying in St. Vincent, there's a call for police to be placed in schools. And the insult from that we listened a while ago that made reference to what's going on in Jamaica suggests that there seems to be a regional problem. And back to St. Vincent and the Grenadines, I don't know what good would it be to have police placed in schools. If it is for protection from keeping certain elements out of school,
out of the school compound,
I could understand.
Yeah.
But it seems as if you're going to divest the discipline of students to policemen. And that, to me, that is frightening.
Mm-hmm.
I've witnessed the way police have dealt with students on school compounds already, and it will have to be desired. They don't have the skills, the disposition to deal with students. And To me, discipline in schools should be a function of the school itself, and in cooperation with parents.
Well, Pijan, in fact, the gentleman who was speaking, the principal or preacher, in the case of Jamaica, he came up with what I consider a fantastic alternative, a suggestion. He said, and if you recall, that it should be a requirement of parents whose children are at school to be part of how did he put it? Some kind of support system. That's what he proposed. I mean, I can go back and get that thing and play it, but that's what he's proposing. In other words, you kind of ensure that parents are involved in the education of their children. So the parents would be required to, for example, attend parent-teachers association meetings. They would be required to do other supportive things for their child or children. And in fact, Peter, I drove by on Friday or Thursday, and I saw the number of parents who came out and stood there while their children were writing the CPEA. That suggests to me, it's confirmed, not suggests, confirmed, that parents in St. Vincent have serious interest in the education of their children. And correct that it should be that. They do. They believe in education. They don't want to go and they don't want to surrender their rights and their responsibility to police to make the school garrisons. I don't think the parents want to do that. I think if the system, I mean, it has been demonstrated that Vincentian mothers and fathers have serious interest in the bringing up of their children, certainly in education. Use that as a platform, I think, for extending to other things that the authorities might want them to do. And I think that'd be in the interest of their children, not only on CPEA days, but generally. I think parents would be willing. And for those who may be reluctant at the time, they would pick up. They will pick up. Because generally there's a serious interest and an expression of interest and responsibility of Vincentian parents in the education and the direction, the brought up if you like, of their children. That's what I noticed. So I would go back to that suggestion made by the Jamaican principal and principal, that we ought to create, rather than putting police at the school, let's be creative and create structures, support structures. And parents would be willing to take part in those support structures. I am convinced. Yeah, well, I just thought I'll mention that while we're on that, I see some contributions. Let me read this one. This one says, the school, I think it was once, it's school becoming prisons. Okay, police go to school to chat with the kids, not to police them. Okay, that's fair enough. Understand that one. This one is saying, placing police in school is going to result in students missing school? True, for sure. And heading back to the block and in the hills, for sure. Are we going to them, send police on the blocks to get them to go to school? I think this isn't well thought out. I agree with this response by the person here. We should focus on the parents by rewarding them for paying more attention to their children instead of paying police to police them, when they should be focused on learning. I agree fully with this response. And I still think we have a platform for doing good for our children. Parents are seriously committed and to supporting their children. It was just look at any CPA examination days. You just look, see the parents go out there and they stand up there from morning until the children come out of the exam. Some of them use umbrellas to save them from the sun. Some of them stand up in the shade under a tree. And you see the excitement when they ask, and when the results come out, that's when you see the excitement and satisfaction in the parents and even in the students as well. So that is a platform already we can use in a positive sense to build on reinforcing certain discipline in the school.
I know there are some behavior in schools, unacceptable behavior that we witness in schools.
Mm-hmm.
And believe it or not, they are in the minority.
Yeah. And they've existed from since you and me used to go to school. I saw them when I go to school. But they never, authorities and never brought police to police us as the youngsters.
And culturally, using police carry certain ideas with it.
Mm-hmm.
For instance, we believe that once you touch a child as a police at that young age, is like a blight rather than a blessing to them.
Yeah, Peter, I'm sorry. I agree. It's a blight. From the time the police is involved with a youngster, and chances are the probability most likely will be more young men.
Especially young men.
Especially young men,
Yes.
And from the time that happens, the stigma there is like a blight. We can't allow that. We have to look at the positives, draw from this whole thing, the platform of the positives, because there are many, many, many. And also to involve the parents, making sure that we involve the parents to strengthen that platform of positives. I mean, let's be realistic. You won't capture every single one. Some would be missed, but the smallest probability of doing better than we're doing now justifies looking at the positive. In my view, and that's the way I would see it. And somebody's saying here, we need to say what the MP is saying doesn't make sense. I'm not sure what MP, I believe he means. If it's in the case of Simmons, Ministry of Security?
Our Minister of Security who's making the call.
Yeah. So the person saying we need to say that it doesn't make sense. I endorse that. It
doesn't make sense. And
I endorse that. Mm-hmm.
Their strategies, their regulations that govern the way students should be treated. And I'm wondering whether or not planting police on the school compound,
does it violate?
Unless it's for keeping security within the school itself.
Yeah.
Keeping certain elements out. I could understand that. But to use them as to protect students, protect the how should I put it?
Well, to police the youngsters in the compound.
Yes,
you know?
Yes.
To keep order. That is no. I mean, even what I recall, Pigeon, even at my long-time days at university, I remember at York University, they had security, but the police never came on campus. Police were not allowed to come on the campus except as you said, there's an incident and they were called in. And even so, they were reluctant to come on campus. They were not, and you're talking about adults, basically. I don't know if that situation has changed, but you're talking about adults. So this is not a good idea. This person saying, I think this one, okay. Hi, good morning to all in the studio. Police in school here in America is not working. and have schools and they have the school shooting and police can't stop that. I can't see any good coming out. Police in school. So we're all saying the same thing, basically. And we hope that, well, I'm going to read a couple more before we get out of this one, Pijan. Few have responded. A very good morning, gentlemen. There is a myth about children's behavior when the generation before was worse than the present generation, i.e., learning about my parents and I go along. Learning about my parents, okay. The problem is not parents, the police or teacher. This is a society problem, and yes, girls mature faster than boys historically. All right, I'm not sure he's coming in, but that's what he has to say on this issue. And we go back to another message from one of our colleagues. Cecil and Pijan, Minister of National Security, said that the decision was made after careful public consultation. When were those consultations held and where? Good question.
Good question.
Good question. Certainly, it'd be a good thing to have, if not physical, space. You could have on radio or so. I'm not aware of any. So let me move on. Which schools were consulted? Is this filtering? Are we going to make the rural schools feel less important compared to the GHS and the town schools? Discrimination. So it's an important question this person is posing. Well, to the first part, I am not aware. I don't know if anybody is aware of any consultation that took place. And if you are, we'd be happy to have you share with us. Somebody again is saying here, good morning, Mr. Ryan. Sending police to schools is like a state of emergency. If they are concerned about the violence in schools, they can scan their bags before they enter to make sure that they have no weapons by placing them in schools. But placing them in schools is a foolish thing. Well, okay, I'll do that to kind of signal a certain kind of thing, which you don't want to do so any negative precedent. But anyway, so yeah, Pijan, those are some of the good comments.
The Minister of National Security seemed adamant that he's going ahead with the measure.
Well,
which is rather unfortunate.
It's unfortunate because it will have negative effect on our youngsters, the nation's youngsters. I hope they would reflect, and there's so many. The alternative things are right there. They're not hard to discern. Even as we were listening to the brother from Jamaica giving the Jamaican experience. That's an idea. There are many other ideas which can be tried. And I'm so surprised. Again, we have another response, and then I'll just move on after this one. It says here, I believe the minister wants to send some officers back to school. How to be that? Well, I don't know, but there's a lot of officers would have to go back to school in that case. Yeah, all right, Pijan, we can move on to other issues. I don't know if there's anything else we have a call. Let's take this call before we move off air. Good morning. Welcome to the program.
Hello, good morning, my friend.
Good morning to you.
I hear you talking about the school of them. You can't put America with St. Vincent so easy. Okay, and here you talk about security by the school and the police. But when you really check it out, the little baby today don't respect nobody and no respect, no security. I think you should put a security in the night and leave a police in the day because the children are very, very, very managed.
He's gone. He said to put a police in the night and leave something. I don't quite follow what he was saying.
Security in the night and police in the day.
In the day? I didn't quite don't understand it. But anyway, that's what he has had to say. All right. Yeah, Philbert, any other issue you want to raise now? A couple of things I want to just mention. First of all, I should have said since last week that I recognize that the SVG Cuba Friendship Society has passed on, donated, delivered a check of $19,000 to the Cuban ambassador here in St. Vincent, which was what they collected in an appeal that we assisted the society, the Cuba, SVG Cuba Society, Friendship Society with. So I just want to commend them, commend the society, and commend the people who made the contribution, because I know that a number of people made contributions, and I just want to commend that initiative and that effort. Big up to the SVG Cuba Friendship Society. In the scheme of things, is a little token, and we have to see it for what it is, a token, but it shows and indicates our expression of solidarity and willingness to help to solve or to ease the suffering of the Cuban people. So thank you very much for that. In a parallel sense, I know that the government of St. Vincent and the Grenadines has declared that it would contribute $100,000, but I have not yet seen where that contribution has been materialized. I hope when they do, or if they do, they would make it public so that the public would see that they fulfill their contribution, their promise of making $100,000 US contribution to the Cuban government and people. All right.
And we have to continue to extend our blessings to our students who are still there. Still struggling.
Still struggling.
And they must be applauded for their resilience. I haven't heard of any of them complain about coming back home.
Coming back home, yeah. In fact, Pigeon, just, when was it? Friday, I was in conversation with somebody who was sharing the experience of a student from the Calder area who is really holding strain. And the person said that there are times when there's no current, so they can't really study. And there are times when water is a challenge. I mean, what the person was saying, it's something real dread. Real dread. But nonetheless, they're holding on. The students, certainly from that particular student, the suggestion is that they're holding on and hoping for the best.
I heard from one who said that they're cooking on wood fire.
Yeah.
And the only thing that could make her leave Cuba is they have to push her out.
Okay.
She stayed no matter what.
Yeah. And that in a way is a manifestation of Professor Robinson's lecture, contents of his lecture, which is reviewed in the opinion of the Searchlight newspaper, the editorial page of the column, I should say, of the Searchlight newspaper for this week. And I just want to, I think I read it before, Pigeon, I think so, but I just want to read again sections, if not all, of the article. The Searchlight newspaper editorial. No one is coming. So we build together And the caption is saying, why a public lecture on Open Day matters for St. Vincent and the Grenadines. And it goes, last year, in a graduate seminar in Antigua and Barbuda, one of our brightest students asked, with the unself-consciousness of a serious young person, but what did Venezuela done to the United States? She was not being naive. She, like many in the generation, had grown up in a Caribbean that had become almost without anyone noticing a, quote, zone of peace, unquote. She has no living memory of a world in which geography is destiny. According to CNN's analysis of U.S. Southern Command data in May 2026, some 15,000 military personnel passed through the Caribbean and Eastern Pacific waters, during which more than 192 people were killed in strikes on small boats. Her question is the question of this generation, and we owe her an answer. And the column goes on. Professor Justin Robinson, a son of the soil and principal of the UWI Five Islands campus, has sought to answer the question in part through his public lecture titled, quote, "No one is coming to save us. The OECS is in changing global order," unquote. And then it goes on like this. The reality is that the most consequential arguments about Caribbean survival cannot live only inside seminar rooms or the academic sphere. They must travel into the barber shops and the rum shops, the churches and the taxi stands, the diaspora WhatsApp groups at midnight. The academy has in place, but a university that speaks only to itself in a moment like this is one has misread the moment. We are living through the end of 75 years of relative regional peace. The rule-based order is being demoted to a talking point. There is coercion, migration is discipline, and climate change finance is a favor, and sub-region. The Organization of Eastern Caribbean States now confronts the global posture that has replaced rules with leverage and a triple crisis at home. Climate change bringing droughts and stronger hurricanes, crime hollowing out a generation of young men, and chronic non-communicable diseases strain health systems. Added to this is the arrival of the artificial intelligence AI revolution, not after these crises, but on top of them. Generic AI models trained abroad will keep coding our young people at risk. Our remittances as suspicious, our hurricane as statistical outliners, and our credit histories as missing data. No outside power is coming to fix this for us. That is not a tragedy. It is a building instruction. The lecture is one of the case. The other half is what is happening at the UWI Five Islands campus, UWI Five Islands campus, the OECS only full-time or full-scale university, opened in 2019 and 6 years on, is offering tertiary education and research at this scale. It is the campus that last week, May 8, helped launch Insight, the new UWI AI Institute, with Sagicor as founding partner, the first Caribbean financial services AI hub, built on Caribbean data and governed by Caribbean institutions. And I want to just go to this last part, which says, this is why the public lecture and the open day belong together. The lecture diagnoses the campus bills. The diagnosis without the building is despair, while the building without the diagnosis is drift. Together, they describe the Caribbean self-reliance that is no longer aspirational, but operational. We are not asking the world to save us. We are asking each other to build. We may not be able to fully answer the question of the student. However, from the state of the world, we can say, no one is coming to save us. So we build, and this time, we build together. I thought it was a powerful editorial opinion, and I thought I'd read at least part of it. So, yeah, we are on our own, and we have to act on our own, and we build together as a people, as a nation. And we have to build sensibly, because we can't build by scaring our youngsters, having them think that anything they do, they'll be dragged off to jail or to prison. You can't do that. You have to be positive. You have to be positive about it. And talking about positive teaching, I don't know if you saw it, but I had read an article on social media about the state of our passport. And I noticed that Searchlight, again, on the same page of the editorial, they usually have a column called Word on the Net, on the web. And I thought what they have was, some of the comments was interesting. For example, let me read the thing. As of April 2026, the St. Vincent and the Grenadines passport is ranked 19th globally, with a mobility score of 146 to 157 on the Henley Passport Index 2026, offering a mobility score and access to over 146 countries, which include visa-free access to 100 destinations and visa on arrival for 40 others. Most members of Searchlight's online community are proud of the country for this achievement. Some are crediting the Unity Labour Party, ULP administration, for propelling the country forward, while others are concerned with how the Citizenship by Investment program will affect this ranking. And it goes on to say, the article goes on to say, the following are comments which appeared under the article. And I just go to some of them. It says, a lot of intention might not know this, but the Vinci passport is very strong. I have proudly used mine to travel to 26 countries without visa. It's a privilege, and the country should be proud. I still use mine, even up to today, because why not? Somebody, I won't call the person's name. And the other person goes on another comment. Well done, Ralph. By the way, I notice people who are for citizenship by investment are celebrating. Don't worry. The real ranking comes after the first couple sales. Okay. And there are others, but they all seem to all the other comments give a lot of credit to the previous government, and they're proud about the Vinci passport and moving from 35, I think, in the ranking in the world to 19. So I thought that was an interesting.
Do you know who is Henley?
And they're the same people, passport people, and I thought, what an irony.
Yeah.
But in truth and in fact, you have to understand, it's their business, so they have to do the research to find out where to invest their money at their time. But Peter, when I read it and saw Henry and Partners, I said, these are the same SCL people.
Yeah, same people.
Same people, but
same people whose business it is to promote the sale of passports.
Yeah.
Or the sale of citizenship.
But you know what I mean? They're aiming at the Vinci passport. That's why that's why they found it convenient to publish and to do this research and publish this particular piece.
I think they do it generally, but we just happen to be acquitted well in this.
Yeah. So when I read it, not here, I read it when I saw it first. I said, what? Is it the same people? It's irony. But yes, I mean, fact is fact. Truth is truth. The Vinci passport is the 19th ranked in the world. I mean, that's fact.
Right.
You know, you can't dispute that. So even if they wanted to, which I don't think they wanted to, they couldn't. Anyway, it's a fact. Yeah. So, all right. I don't know if
one of the commenters suggests that once the for sale start, we expect to see a plunge in this.
One of them said that. Well, I don't know if that's all right. There are some comments. Let me just read this 2 page and before I move on. It says here. Okay. Good morning, my brothers. Who do you think the students will respect, the police or the security guard? Is it a matter of respect?
Matter of respect.
It's a matter of respect. That's the surface way of looking at it, but we're looking at the deeper implications.
But it's engaging in fear mongering.
Yeah. You know, once you create that thing on a youngster, you know, it lasts for the rest of his life, you know. It affects whatever happened to him, you know, him or her. Any encounter that is unpleasant defines, in fact, the behavior. It shapes the future for that youngster. I mean, and that is how we have to look at this thing. Yeah?
And unfortunately, these tend to affect boys more than anything else.
Yes.
More than anyone else.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And I believe, you know, given our, you know, behavior and social history, it's likely that they would be targeting boys more than the girls.
Yeah.
Because you hear what, for example, in the piece by Win Calendar, piece on Grenada, Prime Minister Dickon Mitchell was saying you have special attention must be given to boys, you know, because they're the quote unquote, they're the troublesome ones, basically. That's what he was saying. So imagine taking that into school atmosphere, school environment. You know, it's already, you know, the prevailing kind of thinking generally. We have to change, we have to reorient our thinking process and dig deeper than we're doing now. That's my view. And that's why I admire the comments or the suggestion made by the principal in Jamaica about finding ways to require that parents play a greater role in their children. This person saying, Philbert, I am listening and I hear the name Henry. Well, it's Henry and Partner, by the way, in the thing, as a rating / company / agency. The name Henry raises a red flag. This might very well be a promotional rating for the NDP CBI program. Interesting, he said it wasn't saying so. But at one point, I thought the same thing. But, you know, at one point, when I first read this thing, I thought so. Because Headley and Partners, passport people, you know.
I think it's a ratings they publish annually.
Yeah, they do. Yeah. They do. But I mean, yeah. Okay. Yeah, so Pigeon, a few other things I would like to raise now, but I just want to play this as an introduction to what I'm going to raise. Does that sound familiar, Pigeon?
So let's play Philbert Baptist.
Yeah. And last year, around this time, we had in studio with us. It was, was it Pointer 13?
Yes, 13.
Yeah. And a group of spiritual pilgrims. And we had I remember that we had a wonderful program. And they were here in advance of the commemoration of the inaugural National Spiritual Baptist in St. Vincent and the Grenadines. And I noticed that this year again, a number of the pilgrims are coming in from Grenada, Trinidad and Tobago, Canada. I know this is in Canada, and I would presume Barbados and other places, as they did last year. And the program has actually started. I think today they have I think it's a
pilgrimage to Canada.
Pilgrimage to Canada, yeah. Yeah, you're right. So, and then the holidays on National Spiritual Baptist is on Wednesday, 21 anyway. May 21. I don't remember if it's May or if it's Wednesday or Thursday. It's Thursday because Tuesday the 19th, Wednesday the 28th, 21 is Thursday. So they have a holiday on Thursday, National Spiritual Baptist Day. In which I think they're having a march from around Kingstown, from Heritage Square to someplace, to Independence Park, I think. So yeah, I just want to give a plug for that and remind people of the importance of National Spiritual Baptist Day. But even as this is a pigeon, somebody is sending, still on the question of the school, and the person saying, "Hi, good morning, Cecil. Rather than militarize the school, why don't they introduce a sensitivity program in the schools where a few officers visit schools on a weekly basis and host workshops?" And the person goes on to educate youths as more inclusive and hands-on way of coping with needs for violence, and at the same time create a trusting partnership. Okay, that's one.
That's a good idea.
That's a good idea. But I think there are a number of good ideas that can come if they just sit down and think it out more deeply. There are a number of good ideas that can come. So thanks for that one. And I hope folks are paying attention. Yeah. Yeah, okay. Pigeon, there's an article, Pigeon, on the front page. Well, it starts on the front page of the Searchlight newspaper. And again, Aisha Speed came and he left like hurricane. But his presence here in St. Vincent is lingering. Because I noticed there's a caption in the quotation. Aisha Speed Welcome Team sought permission to display live iguana out of season. And that comment is credited to Dr. Shallow, Minister of Tourism.
Remember last week we highlighted that?
Yeah. But I saw it in the paper, so I just wanted to go back to it. And in fact, I want to quote what the paper has written, and the quotation from Dr. Shallow in response to the concern raised by the Conservation and Education Science. And then let me just read from part of it. It says, Science expressed, quote, profound disappointment and concern, unquote, and said that the action constituted a clear and deliberate breach of national wildlife protection laws, since we are now in the closed season, which runs from February 1 to September 30, and annually. And then it goes on, quote, it also represents a serious failure of leadership and responsibility. Every Vincentian and those entrusted with authority are expected to uphold and enforce the laws, not violate it. Such behavior erodes public trust and undermines national effort to conserve and protect the biodiversity of St. Vincent and the Grenadines, unquote. And then in response, this is what the paper is reporting, what Dr. Shallow has the way in which he has responded. And he says, in response, Dr. Shallow said that his ministry sought permission from the Ministry of Agriculture and other stakeholders. Kind of sought permission from the Ministry of Agriculture and other stakeholders. Okay, he didn't say who the stakeholders are, but I'll go on. Quote, it was one of the discussions that took place on the Monday, and the paper is quoting Dr. Shallow. It was one of the discussions that took place on the Monday on the Monday, when we had all the stakeholders in the room. Ministry of Agriculture, quote, just hours before, our permanent secretary was speaking to the permanent secretary at the Ministry of Agriculture, Dr. Shallow stated. He said the iguana that was seen in a cage alive was seen, I think he meant that was seen alive in a cage, was taken to the scene by the Ministry of Agriculture. And it goes on, in addition to the iguana on display, Aisha Speed was given, quote, wild meat, unquote, to eat, and was later told it was iguana meat. Quote again, there were there two, Minister Shallow said, of the Ministry of Agriculture personnel. Okay. I suspect they just let it go after. Are you following? I don't.
Yeah.
Okay. But that was it. I can't confirm whether he actually ate the iguana or not, quote, Shallow said, smiling. No, I'm smiling, I'm baffled and everything. Now, first of all, let me take up the point. He said they let it go after in the streets of Kingston in all the bright lights. Is that what he's saying? He's saying Because that's what he said here. They let it go after it was on the display. I mean, and then he said that he can't confirm that high-speed ate iguana meat. But the host, if you go back...
You saw the clipping?
Yeah, I followed. The host said to high-speed, bro, you're eating iguana. That's what the host said to high-speed. And then he pointed, look at he's pointing to the cage. To the cage to confirm. And that's when high-speed, that iconic expression on his face.
Right, iconic expression.
Yeah. So for Dr. Shallow to come and say he can't confirm, is either his mind went blank at that time, his vision went blank, or his hearing went blank. And I don't know if it must have been around, and he would have seen the thing on Facebook in any event. So that is not proper for him to come and say this. But the point I want to make, Pigeon, the greater point I want to make is that I read the act more than once, and I see nowhere in the act where it gives exemption to anyone, including any minister, to give permission to eat iguana outside of and catch iguana outside of the season. Nowhere in the act. So I don't know where the thing is. They did something illegal. They broke the law. And they can't be angry. Certainly the forestry or the Ministry of Education of Agriculture can't be upset if some people outside of the scene go and hunt iguana, because they themselves have set the precedent. That's what they did. So, but it is not the thing to do. It's illegal. It's illegal. It's against the law. And you want to read the act. If you just go and read it, in fact, it's on the internet. If you type in the name, you would see it and you would be able to read it. So I find this response clearly out of order. And I would urge that, anyway, I don't know. We have to abide by our laws. We're not a lawbreak. We ought not to be a lawbreaking country. Then anybody would come in this country and break our laws. We're not a country anymore if we just indulge in flaunting the laws of the country. So I take these things very seriously, and I hope people it's just that as a national, I take these things extremely seriously. Somebody saying out of season, who catch it in the first place? Who caught it out of season in the first place need to pay. Well, there's a penalty. There's a penalty. The act tells you what penalty. So if you're talking about that penalty, I agree with you. Whoever caught it, and it's not that you don't know, the people, or one of the hosts, he was there on TV, and over 50,000 people saw that across the world. So when he said, bro, you're eating iguana meat, and he pointed to the cage.
Pointed to the cage.
Yeah.
And the man, the face light up.
Yeah. So. Yeah, okay. Well, some people may see it differently. Yes, Pigeon.
There's a story on page 4 of the Searchlight.
Mm-hmm.
I should speed visit costs less than $100,000 for St. Vincent for SVG, says Minister of Tourism.
Yeah, well, I saw that. I read that story as well. Could well be. I don't know. But he's claiming, and I can't dispute him, that it was worth it. Whatever money they spent, it was worth it. And I think he's saying that stakeholders contributed. Yeah. So he hasn't given details. He should be able to give details, really. If he wants to reveal that, and he did say that it was voted, then give some details so people could understand.
Understand that he is coming back for Vinci Mass?
Oh, he is?
So I understand.
Oh, okay. Okay. Not for the full duration. So come out, maybe. I don't know. That's interesting. But that information is reliable, Pigeon?
I don't know how reliable it is, but I just
you
saw it
saw
on
it?
Facebook and social media somewhere.
Oh, okay. All right. All right, so I think those are the issues we want to bring forward for now, but I think we can now ask people who wish to make their input into the discussion for this morning. Anything you heard being mentioned, anything you have that you've noticed yourself during the week, and you wish to comment on it, we would welcome your call anytime now. 457-9997 is the number to call, and that would take you to WhatsApp or the regular line, and we'll be happy to hear from you.
And please tell us whether or not you agree with having students being policed by the police during the course of a typical school day.
But Philbert, there are three things that I won't mind if people comment on. That one, but also the passport issue.
Yes.
And the same eating or catching iguanas and eating them outside of the hunting season. So those are the three things. We would love to hear your comments on those things. Send us a message or call us. We'd be happy to hear from you. And we have a message here. Seeing that the minister is talking about the cost of for speed visit, is he going to say if the state also paid for Shelley and Fraser's trip as well? Right? That's interesting. How do they fit into the cost for promoting St. Vincent and the Grenadines or tourism? I think that's information that we ought to know about. So thanks for raising that on, my friend.
It wasn't a private enterprise.
Well, a private entity claimed credit for bringing it here, but it seems that the state contributed largely to the cost, covering that cost, which is what the person is raising here. So that too we need to understand. Because I understand it wasn't cheap for her to be here, and therefore we ought to know. This person saying, much ado about nothing. Move on from this, my friend. That's your view. I tell you what, I believe in the law of our land. That's what somebody's saying. Move on from the thing of the iguana and high speed. Yeah. Those are the laws of our land. It's no different from when there was an attempt to change the constitution. And I can go on. That's the law of the land. In as much as we're talking about placing police on school compound, we have to talk about this because, again, we don't want to cultivate or shape people who disobey the law, whether starting in school or wherever. The law of the land must always be respected, whether or not we like it. I know some Vincentians have a tendency to be rebellious. It's in our nature. And to be disrespectful of our country, our sovereignty, and our law. No, not this one. And I would, in as much as you mentioned this, I want to state strongly that your comment has no place in my way of thinking, I can tell you that. And certainly on this program, when we aim to promote things that are legal, we do that. And we condemn those that are illegal. And you may like it or not, but that's my thoughts on it. I see yours, but I'm responding. And the person's going on to say, I didn't hear all the upset when Vibes Cartel broke the law and wear camouflage garment around the PM in our country. I mean, I don't understand how people think. Well, I don't even recall that Vibes Cartel broke the law. Pigeon, you recall?
No.
Did you recall Vibes Cartel broke the law? If anybody could recall, please share with us. I don't know. I don't know where I can't recall where he was captured as a lawbreaker in St. Vincent and the Grenadines. You may wish to state the date and the place and so on, my friend, whoever. Another comment here from somebody. How does he know? How does he know it was worth it? It is too easily, I'm trying to read this. It is too easily to measure that. I think, is it that easy to measure it? I think that's what the person is saying. And did they do any focus groups testing on the new quote unquote Love St. Vincent slogan? Or was it a minister who decided? It's interesting. I don't know. It'd be interesting to know, to clarify those things. Maybe somebody who knows would be able to share with us whether or not it was. Because I noticed, we have a call here. Good morning, good afternoon, just past afternoon. Good afternoon, welcome to the program.
Yeah, hey, good afternoon, guys. And the iguana thing, folks who want to support what was done need to understand, like you said, the law is the law. And what I think is going to happen, if another citizen go out there and start catching iguana, when he go to court, his lawyer going to use that for his defense. And you can't come out now and say, well, he need to be prosecuted because he break the law. Because if the minister guys sit there while they flagrantly break the law, then you cannot prosecute somebody else for doing the same thing. There ain't no exemption. If you don't like the law, change it. As long as the law is on the book, you have to obey. Because you can't expect citizens to obey the law when you guys do what you want to do with it. And that's a problem. And then for him to basically, to me, is like the comment that you read from him is like, he pretty much laughing at it. And it's not when laws is in the book, it's not a joking matter. If you don't like it, you are in government, then change it. That's what I got to say about that.
All right, my
you
friend.
guys have a good day.
Thanks for calling. Have a good day yourself.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay, somebody's responding to the Vibes Cartel remark. Vibes Cartel wore camouflage, yes, but the difference is that the state broke the law by giving Speed iguana to eat. To Speed's credit, he was not aware that he was breaking the law. That's true. That state broke its own law. But that's the point. It's simple and straight as that. And I'm glad there are people with clearer vision on these matters who can clearer than most, or than some, I should say. Like the comment I read earlier on. So they can themselves, make their own comments. So I invite others to do likewise. 457-9997 is the number to call us, WhatsApp or straight, or send us a WhatsApp message. We'd be able to share with those who are following our program today. All right, so we have a call here from our brother and friend. Kojo, good morning to you.
Good morning. I hope my phone is working good so you could hear me.
Oh, you remember that? It's clear enough. Go on.
Okay.
Keep it that way.
Okay, but in terms of the camouflage thing, I think that law has changed, I don't think if you fully fledged only dressed in camouflage, like if you're just like a military person, then you have a problem. But if you wear piece of a military stuff, I don't think the law applies like it used to. Before you couldn't wear nothing that was camouflage, but I think you could wear parts of camouflage because I remember I came home, I had a head tie, head wrap, and I think I had a shirt camouflage. And nobody did me anything. Nobody said anything to me. So I don't think it is if you wear a piece of camouflage thing, I think it's okay. If you just fully camouflage, which some people used to do, wear pants, shirt, and even have sometimes they even have the boots. I think that's where they draw the line. I could be wrong, but I think that so the full camouflage is a problem. I think if you wear part of a camouflage, it's not a problem.
I promise to have it to check it out myself, Kojo. I'm not quite familiar. I will check it out. But thanks.
I think so the camouflage thing is different than the iguana. And as the person who said just now, the state has a law. I mean, I wanna give them a benefit of the doubt that say that they probably didn't feed any iguana, they probably feed them chicken and food and say iguana just to get thing that even doing that.
But Kojo, the host.
No, I'm saying listen, I'm saying even doing that, you give the implication that you actually did feed the man iguana. So even if it was an iguana that you killed, the mere fact that you put it out there like it's iguana, it's you.
But you seem to be entertaining doubt because I was watching. Let me finish. Let me clarify.
Okay.
The host, one of the planners, I would imagine, did say, "Bro, you're eating iguana meat." I went out that he was one of the planners, and then he said, "Look it there in the cage." If you go in a law code, you think the magistrate or the judge want anything any clearer than that?
Yeah, I understand the point you're making, and I agree with you in terms of the law. Don't get me wrong. I'm just saying it's like, you can't polish it up. If you break the law, you can't polish it up and say you ask for approve for that day or something, because trust me, people's going to go and bring that law, close to them, because a hunter who likes to hunt, if you catch somebody going, they say, "Well, what's now you already gone the other day on national TV out of season." So what you telling me now? You're setting yourself up if you break the law, regardless to who it is breaking the law, you're breaking the law. You can't say, "Oh, I'm government and I break the law."
I just feel, Kojo, I don't know, we're not taking ourselves and our creation seriously enough. That's a law. That's part of our existence. Are you going to tell me you're going to just flaunt it and nobody's business? Can you do that in another country? Can you do that in the US? Kojo, in as much as you live there, can you do that can you flaunt the law like this in the US?
I don't hunt, but I work with hunting people, and hunting laws are serious out here, boss. Serious. As a matter of fact, you have to have a hunting license to go out there and hunt. If them wilderness come out and see you without your license, you have to pay big daily. And as a matter of fact, if they catch you with it out of the law is so heavy. They have a scale, they have a measurement thing. If you shoot an animal, whichever animal is in season for you to shoot, and it's not the right size, you could get yourself in trouble for that. If you shoot the female, you're in trouble. You have to shoot a male, and it's all kind of thing they're saying, and you have to know male from female. You can't just what the law is so funny out here that hunters have to be really serious about their shooting around animals. I mean, they're kind of like I think now they have a lot of wild lions, mountain lions, and they give them a little opportunity to shoot them now because they kind of overrunning the other animals, like, you know, the deers getting killed out by the wild animals, by the wild lions. So they're allowing people to kill some lions, but unless they give you that permission, you can't do nothing to those things. I'm mountain lion could be right in my backyard. I have to call them and tell them I'm mountain lion in my backyard, come and get it. I can't go and kill him or kill her. You know, so the law is different.
The law is different, but the law is the law, and every citizen is expected to obey the law.
And I agree with you, and I agree with you too.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, because if you start allowing people to break certain laws, you can't stop people from breaking other laws. I mean, let me go down to the Constitution. If you break the Constitution, you know, if you start touching the Constitution, how you feel like, you know, you gotta watch what you gotta watch what you're doing as a government.
Yeah.
I mean, you know, you can't, you know, like ISO Speed, like I tell you, ISO Speed came here in Oakland, you know. He almost got arrested for breaking the law here, you know.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, they have a thing here they call sideshows, where the cars are them, they block off streets and they spin around and they do what we call ghost riding, where outside the car, you know. People get hurt, a lot of people get, well, I shouldn't say a lot of people, because I mean, some people might say 10 people get killed is not a lot, but about 10 people as far as I know got killed in those sideshows where people get hit by the car, or, you know, the person lose control of the car, and, you know, things like that. And he came here. They just arrested his two promoters, the people from Oakland who promoted the show. Here, they just arrested them. They're charged for breaking the law here in Oakland. From the same ISO Speed. They just arrested them last week.
So he came there, you said, and what, he broke a law? What law did he break?
Well, he, just like the iguana kind of situation, I don't know if he knew that, what he was coming here to do was against the law.
Oh, I see.
He came here and did a sideshow shot. Where he, you know, was on the cars and doing his stuff like that. But the promoters who promoted that show for Oakland, they just got arrested last week. But they didn't say that they was going to. They didn't say they was going to arrest ISO Speed. So it seems like he's in the clear. I'm just saying is that, you know, the promoters is arrested for breaking the law here in Oakland.
Okay.
For that.
Okay.
You know, for us. So I'm just saying they seem like he goes to the edge of a lot of people take him to the edge, and you know, that's all right.
All right, Coach Joe.
Okay.
Have a good one. Thanks for calling.
You too.
There's a call. Let's see this one. Good afternoon. Welcome to the program.
Good afternoon. At the 50th anniversary of CARICOM 2023 celebration, Luciano on stage, wear camouflage. Also, Pitbull and Candyman wear it at ULP event also. So, and why you're outraged about a iguana? But you're outraged when there's 3 policemen beat the living daylight out of that 12-year-old boy born in with cigarette, fired and put back into the police force. Or when CJ Weeks was run over, and according to Jomo Thomas, the evidence was destroyed at the financial complex. You had nothing to say on that. How come?
My friend, you're making claims which you can't substantiate, and we don't, on this program, not the radio station, we don't identify, although we don't agree with the claims that you're making. We absolve ourselves of those, the responsibility of siding with those claims. But
all right, what about the 3 policemen?
hear me
How come
again.
you didn't say nothing about that when they beat the living daylight out of three
Hear me
out
again.
of this 12-year-old boy? How
Hear
come
me
you
again.
didn't
Are
have
you
no
hearing me?
outrage about that?
Are you going to listen to
I'm
me?
hearing you.
Are
Go
you
ahead.
going to listen to me? I'm giving you the last chance. I'm saying this program and this station and the other ones who are carrying the broadcast, we absolved ourselves of that responsibility of what you're saying in terms of being sure about what you're saying. And you
You're
make
not sure
some
about those 3
statements.
policemen? That thing went to court.
My friend,
You're
are
not sure of that?
you waiting on for me to finish, or are you going to keep cutting in? Last chance I'm giving you. Last chance. You're making a number of statements, all bulge into one, including referring to something you said Jomo Thomas commented on. I am saying we absolved ourselves of the responsibility to be identified with those comments. All right? Do you have another comment to me? Do you have another comment to me?
Yes, I got another comment.
Relax and make a comment. A different comment, not the ones you've made so far. A different comment, not the ones you've made so far.
When you said that Boucher went up to the office and yelled at the lady, you had evidence? Were you there in that office? Huh?
Do you have another comment?
Were you in that evidence when you?
He's all uptight about matters. I don't know what.
Trying to understand the anger.
I don't know. That's what I'm saying. I don't know what is angry about. Nobody has been hostile to him. Let me answer this one. Lansford, good morning. Welcome to the program.
Hi, Cecil.
How are you doing?
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Oh, it's afternoon. Yeah, you're right. It's afternoon. Yes.
Cecil, you have been discussing 3 very important issues this morning. Relatively simple issues, but large. And I want to comment briefly on all 3 of them.
Of course.
Let's start with the passport issue. And my opinion is that this publicity of St. Vincent and the Grenadines being 19th in the world, in my opinion, is one of those strategies where you try to shift person's thoughts in a particular direction. What I mean by this, it may well be that somebody is attempting to say to Vincentians, you have a good resource in your passport, valuable. And when we attempt to sell it, just remember we are selling one of your valuable assets from which you can benefit. But there's a counter side to that. While the passport may be very valuable upfront and may be sold for a lot, the mere fact that you're selling the passport, the actions of selling the passport, in my opinion, will devalue the passport significantly. I want to turn to the police in schools, and I believe that policemen and women have no place in our schools unless you're going there to investigate a crime. I believe that placing police in our schools is going to create an environment where some of our children are going to validate themselves as being bad. And I use bad in the street talk sense. I'm a bad boy and they have to send police to control me. I don't know that the children would have any more respect for the police than they have for the teachers. I believe the presence of the police may contribute to a further deterioration of the respect, a further diminishing of the respect that the children have for the teachers. All that is being reported now with respect to what the children are doing in school took place in schools since my days. In grammar school, I have witnessed fellow students smoking weed. I can point you to some of them on the streets now.
Mm-hmm.
I have witnessed a fellow student on the way to taking the bus on mornings, going to the rum shop to get a drink before he went to the grammar school. We had fights in school. Pigeon can bear me out on this.
Yep.
Children fought each other. We also fought in groups, especially based on the demographics generally, but particularly kinship, who you're related to. So if somebody interferes with you, your relatives in the school are going to side with you against that other person, and quite obviously or likely that other person's relatives are going to side with them. And so you have two groups fighting against each other. There's also the issue of geography, where we had issues, Stubbs versus Village.
Mm-hmm.
Village here is Victoria Village, and these things continued for weeks. We didn't need police to come and settle it. When it got before the principal had the authority, they had the responsibility, well, the head teacher, because it was a primary school then, and they settled it. So every time I pass the Carpon Secondary School, and remember that you have high walls with barbed wire on them, fencing that school that I attended as a primary school, it grieves my heart as to what our society has become in that respect. I don't think police in our schools are going to help. The children who commit crimes, I think for the most part, they do it on the street, and there is where the police can deal with them. We get the reports of the children who gather at certain locations on afternoons. I think an easy solution, well, not a solution, but an action that can be taken, is that the police, they get a big bus, they get a number of female officers, and they send them to these locations, and any child, anybody for that matter, that they meet committing a crime, whether it's you're drinking underage, you're smoking illegal substance, you take them, you have to rough them up. And that's why I said women, although I am aware that some of our women can be more rough than our men. But I think it is generally accepted that our women generally have that motherhood touch about them. Take them down to the police station. Those who you have to charge, you have evidence to charge, you charge them, etc. But importantly, the parents and guardians have to come for the children to be released into their custody. And therefore, I hope that these parents and guardians will take more responsibility for the actions of the children thereafter. And those who witness it would do likewise. They will take serious response. I don't believe that the number of children in our schools who are causing these problems are anywhere close to the majority. And as far as I'm concerned, they're children. And if we treat them as children, I believe we will be able to solve that problem, or at least diminish it significantly. If you're not able to solve it completely, you should be able to reduce it. Cecil, the other issue that you raised, the iguana story, is quite related to the one with the schools in terms of the discipline in our society. And before I go further, in the interest of transparency, I must declare that I am a member of science. I am not responsible for the publications that you're reading. That was done by a biology scientist, a conservation biologist, wrote that, supported by a wildlife vet.
Mm-hmm.
This is not simply people who just have a grudge with the government or grudge with anybody. These are people who are trained, who have practiced, and who knew what they were talking about. So with respect to the article you read there, you know, I think I listen well. And one of the things I have come to is that when you listen to Minister Shallow, just listening to him, there are many things you have to decide on immediately. Dr. Shallow have a way of speaking half sentences and moving from one issue to the other without completing the first one. If you doubt me, go back and listen to, or in the future, listen to Dr. Shallow when he speaks. And the newspaper captured it, some of it here. I have a few questions. One, is the issue seeking permission, seeking approval? Is that the issue? Or is the issue getting approval, getting permission? What is the issue here? Seeking approval or getting approval? I note throughout the article, the newspaper did not report that the organizers got approval to do what they did. With respect to the actual iguana, I notice, based on the reports, Dr. Shallow focused on the live iguana. Mm-hmm. And it was only towards the end of the article, in a kind of dismissive way, that he said he didn't know whether they eat, the gentleman eat iguana. Again, I am with you on this, Cecil, that it was stated there and then that he was eating iguana. Now, that leaves several questions. One, how many iguanas were killed and cooked? And that, in my mind, is a very important question. What is the sex of these iguanas? Are they males or are they females? because the sex of the iguana has serious implications. The last time I spoke about it here, I said, based on the biology and based on the readings, I understand that if you kill a mature female iguana during the close season, it is possible, killing just one iguana, that one female iguana, that you may destroy in more than 100 iguanas. On the basis that that female iguana is likely to be carrying eggs during this time. That's why there's a close season at this time of the year, because this is the breeding season. And if you kill a mature female iguana, it is likely that you're going to kill an iguana that is carrying eggs. Each lot of these eggs, I am told, produce up to 100, maybe more, young iguanas. This is a problem of conservation. It is for the same reason that we have a law in place that you must not hunt turtles, which I support, because the turtles come to land for one purpose. They come to lay their eggs. So if you hunt them, if you capture them before they lay, again, you are destroying potentially many, many turtles. But even though it's after they lay, very often the hunters disturb the nest as well. And it is for that reason, and maybe others, why abandoned hunting was put on the turtles. There are those who dismiss the issue. It's one iguana. What happened if they had captured the meat, they had iguana during the open season and stuff like that? That's when I link it to the issues in the school. Is that same callous response to our students that assist them in behaving the way they are behaving. As a state, we must be responsible, we must act responsibly. My other question, Cecil, who was the permanent secretary that Ms. Brown, because I can identify Ms. Brown, because Dr. Shallow, according to the report, said his permanent secretary spoke to the permanent secretary in the Ministry of Agriculture. I would like to know which permanent secretary he spoke to, and Ms. Brown spoke to. And who has the authority to give approval wildlife? Does the permanent secretary has that authority, or is that authority in the hands of someone else? Cecil, I have been part of a party, a group of us, out in the countryside at a school where we were conducting sessions on our biodiversity and conservation. And we got word that there were visitors here, a group of visitors, who were in our forest collecting specimens, collecting samples. Luckily, there was a forestry officer as part of that party. And the forest officer intersected these parcels and found in their possession several important species, eggs that they were taken from our forest. These are species persons like me, and maybe you and Pigeon, do not know exist in our country. And they were taking them, they had them hidden away in books. They had some animals in a net. And it is quite clear to me that they were about to take them overseas. These are species that are endemic to St. Vincent, meaning you can only find them in the wild in St. Vincent. That's what these guys came to St. Vincent to do, to collect our unique species to take overseas. And my mind went to that they possibly was going to attempt to breed them in the country. Upon investigation, it appeared that someone in the Ministry of Agriculture who did not have the authority to do, who is not associated with the wildlife of St. Vincent and the Grenadines, apparently attempted to give them permission to come into St. Vincent. They did not understand the gravity of what these people were coming to do. And that is why I asked the question, who is the permanent secretary from the Ministry of Agriculture that was involved? And whether or not approval was received by the Ministry of Tourism. The information we have so far is that the Ministry of Tourism or the organizers sought approval. We don't know whether or not they got them. Mm-hmm. Cecil, as a member of the Public Service Union executive in the 1990s, I remember having to defend a particular forestry officer because there was an attempt to victimize him for doing his job legally. These are issues that relate to the conservation of our biodiversity that will help us to leave some of these species that are endangered, meaning if we don't take care to preserve them, in time to come, they will not exist in St. Vincent. The iguana used to be one of those species. That's why steps were taken to protect it. And the steps that were put in place, they were done so considering science. It's not somebody simply out of the blues say, we will only give you 3 months to hunt them. And after these 3 months, you can't hunt them. It was based on the study of the biology of these animals. So those who are attempting to dismiss the issue, as I said at the beginning, it may seem a very simple one, but it has very, very deep meaning for our society and the way our society exists. I am with you, Cecil, that laws must be obeyed.
Yes, of course.
Thank you.
And thank you very much, as usual, Lansford, for your intervention. And of course, it enriched always our discussion. Thank you again.
Thank you, guys.
All right, good. Yeah, okay. I was about to read some of the continuing reactions, or reactions that continue to come in. And the same person who disagreed with me are saying, the court doesn't operate on hearsay. You must have evidence. Oh my goodness. Bring the evidence that speed 80 Iguana. I'll put it up. This guy got this wasn't is he for real? And to Gojo, it is camouflage material / cloth being done into apparel, not just one. Okay. It cannot be imported. All right, my friend, whatever. Okay. You have a call on several calls. Good afternoon. Welcome to the program.
Very good morning to you.
Good morning to you.
Contribution. Very short contribution.
Sure.
Yeah, I just want to say that idea, I listened to Mr. Weeks, that is opening, but that idea about police in the school is not anything that is good. To me, it's like making the schools prisons before people go to prison. So you don't really need police at the schools. I could go on a little more and explain certain things, but I think I just like that.
No, but go on.
Yes, yeah. I think I'd stay there for now because what really happens at the school? Now they generally have like some of the schools have like an auxiliary, and the auxiliary is not all that say will be aggressive as the police, or you don't get that impression. What the auxiliary do actually, assist the prisons. Yeah.
Don't listen to your device, because that's a delay. But you got to speak to. Just continue speaking into your mic.
Yeah.
You're listening to the background sound of your device.
Okay, because I'm close to the television.
Yeah, so you're hearing that. So it's there's a little delay. So it will throw you off.
I enjoy Mr. Weeks.
All right, okay.
Yeah, you seem to be better outside than when you was inside. Okay.
All right then. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Okay, good. Thanks for calling. Yes, so the person I was reading what the person has here. Well, he has made his point. I've read it anyway. I read it. So, good afternoon. Welcome to the program.
Yeah, good afternoon. Good afternoon to St. Vincent and the Grenadines. Plus, I like to want to disagree with Mr. Weeks about the presence of the police officers in the schools. I think it's a very good idea. I think it's a good idea. It will deter the kids, those who have ill stuff on their mind, want to come into the school and create havoc for not only for the students who are there to learn, but for some of the teachers who are afraid of these kids. And I think the presence alone of officers in those schools would make a complete difference. First, you have to start with the presence, verbalization, which means talking to them, and de-escalation, but in the same way of talking to them. So for Mr. Weeks to say it's a bad idea, I think it's going to create an atmosphere where the kids are not going to do what they would accustomed of doing when there is no police presence, because the kids have no respect for the teachers, they have no respect for the principal, they have no respect for the colleagues. So what do? You just allow them to run the school in fair? I honestly think I'd like to hear what P. John as an educator heard and thinks.
But were you listening to the beginning of the program?
No, sir. I just get him from church, and I heard Mr. Weeks.
But Pigeon and I have expressed our views already. Pigeon has expressed his views already.
Okay.
Are you okay though? Are you okay? There's a kind of in your voice. Are you health-wise? I'm talking.
No, I just came in and I was just lying on my back. I got him from church.
Well, maybe you shouldn't lie on your back because he's coming through.
Well, let me set up there. Let me set up. Yeah, I honestly think it's a good idea.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm going to address some of the stuff that I've seen are happening in our country for the past few weeks. Where the kids are fighting and beating each other for no apparent reason except to say they're part of a gang. I mean, you're sending the kids to school to learn and to better themselves. But you want to get out there and telling me that you're part of some gang? Who want to be called some number? I would not want to be called a 6 or 7 or 8, whatever it is. Go to school and learn, and because there are children who are there to, because I would love to know that my kids are going to school and not having to worry about some young member or some little boy coming in there want to fight the teacher, and then you turn around, the parents of that little boy going to want to come and also attack the teacher or the principal. We have to set some example. So I think with the presence of the police, that is going to also deter a lot of it. Because if the parents know the police are there, yeah, they may come and argue and stand up for the children, but they're not going to come there and try to attack the teacher. So
Pigeon, are you going to? He asked. He was inviting you to respond.
I'm saying that the student who doesn't respect a teacher would not respect a police. It would make any difference to them. Secondly,
well, Pigeon,
hold on, Pigeon. Yeah.
I don't know on what basis we are claiming that the school is so bad that they need militarization. In my experience, yes, they are difficult students, yes, but they are few, very, 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 very few of the large percentage of students who attend our schools.
Okay, so what do you do with those difficult students? What do you do? Just let them come to school and disrupt the school and run rampage to the schools? What do you do with them?
You deal with them on a case-by-case basis.
Okay, but if you have what we're hearing and what I've been reading, it's gangs, so it's not a case-by-case basis. If you have 6, 7, 8 kids in the school who are disrupting the school and running fair to all the kids, you can't deal with them case-by-case basis. They need to be dealt with. And if it causes the police to intervene, that's what is, and that's what it's going to take, so be it.
Can I ask Can I ask you to clarify a point? You twice now, you said you refer to gangs. And in the first instance, you said that the kids have numbers to.
But the assistant police commissioner said that, and you can't tell me you didn't know that. No, I said that.
Hello.
Yes. Okay.
I can tell you, I didn't hear it. I can tell you that, but you're saying you heard it. I can't doubt you, but I have not heard it. So you're saying they have numbers, gang numbers? Or membership numbers?
Yes, there are some numbers are 6 and some are 7. I'm not sure where you are. If you're living in St. Vincent, you're not hearing these things, then you're not following what's really going on. You're just following what you want to follow.
No, my friend, no. I was going to ask you if you grew up in St. Vincent. You did you?
Absolutely. I grew up in St. Vincent and Grenadines.
What part of St. Vincent? If you don't mind, what part of St. Vincent?
Well, I grew up in St. Vincent and Grenadines, and boys is boys, and boys going to fight. I mean, I have no problem with kids fighting.
So when you grew up, at the time when you grew up, I don't know what period was that. Mine might have been earlier than yours. When you grew up, you didn't have youngsters swearing up, against each group, different groups. You didn't have that in your thing, like
not in my community.
Wow, that was you must have grew up in a sacred community. But
no,
go ahead.
I'm telling you, not in my community. We had no young boys fighting in groups. Men, yes, you had men who protected their territories, and men would come in and they'll fight. Men would fight, but as boys going to school, I can tell you, and any of my friends can tell you, we did not have no gangs. We did not. We go to school to learn.
I didn't say gangs. I didn't say gangs. You're the one who mentioned using the word gang. I didn't.
Well, I'm saying gangs because the assistant commissioner of police, now said that there are gangs in schools and there are gangs in convention. So that's why I'm saying.
Do you mind if I ask you, where do you reside? Are you residing in St. Vincent right now or overseas?
No, I'm.
Well, you don't have to. You don't have to. You don't have to mention it. Sorry.
No, but I'm just saying. I'm just saying, Mr. Ryan. What I'm saying that. I saw a couple of videos with our children, and what I saw is very, very disturbing. It's very, very disturbing. I saw a video where a young man was chased like he was a rat or a dog and beaten, thrown in a hole. You think how would you feel if that is your grandson or that your kid? How would you feel? What if that father was passing at the same time and to see his son being treated like that? What do you think would happen? So that's what I'm saying. We have to try it. I think it's a good idea. You may disagree for some reason, whatever reason you can disagree. We all are entitled to our own opinion and to disagree on certain things. But I think this is a start, and having police in the school would make a difference, in my opinion. I absolutely think so. Have a blessed day, sir.
Yeah, thank you, and you too. He seemed to be having problem with his breathing.
Are we contemplating putting police in primary schools, secondary schools, kindergarten?
I don't know.
Where are we going to put them?
Well, he would have to answer to that.
We have the manpower. I know we have about 25, 26 secondary schools. We have.
How many primary schools do you have?
Close to 60 plus, I think.
Yeah, well.
How are we going to deploy the manpower?
So that's 26 plus, say, roughly 55. Let's round it off. Let's say 60. That's 86. And then we think of preschool as well. I'm not sure. No, we can't be practical. We have a call. Let's take this call, Pijan. Good afternoon.
Cecil, I'll be very, very brief.
Okay.
On the issue of the gangs, it is something that we have to be very responsible with. The people who speak very loosely. When anybody tells me that there's a gang, first question I ask, who is the head of this gang? Who's the head? Who's the leader? Because that's very important.
Mm-hmm.
When you talk about gang, you're talking about an organized structure, an organization with structure, with a leader, with certain rules. And when you talk about their gangs in St. Vincent, and particularly their gangs in school, that's what pursues in the United Kingdom, in the USA, in Trinidad, in Jamaica, in Barbados. Well, maybe not Barbados, but that's the message that they're getting. That in our schools, there are organizations, there are groups that are organized. And these groups are organized to commit crime. If you look for the definition, you can Google it for gangs. That's what you will get.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not surprising to me that the UK government put out an advisory to their citizens that they have to be careful coming to St. Vincent.
Mm-hmm.
That's where we are. Cecil, I have read recently on Facebook, one of the blogs, talking about two gangs in Beckway. And I just had to laugh. The caller who was just speaking to you, you know who are the gangs? Southside and Harbour. So these are colloquial names for areas in Beckway.
In Beckway, no.
Southside is the southern part of Beckway.
Patton Farm area.
That area by where the airport is.
Mm.
And the harbour is for the capital, Port Elizabeth. And it's not now you have children from Paget Farm having quarrels, having fights against those from Port Elizabeth. But somebody heard the names, Southside and Harbour, and immediately they determined that these were gangs with the name Southside and Harbour. I wonder if the caller heard that, because he is very familiar with those colloquial names, Southside and Harbour. And does he really think that there's a gang in Beckway? In the school that is called Southside? And one that is called Harbour? No, it's the same thing I mentioned earlier in my presentation. We used to have Subs versus Village. And all it had to do with is children, many of us not unruly. Many of us generally were good children. But our friends were fighting and we got involved in the fight too. Had nothing to do with gangs. And I believe it's the same thing that happened in Beckway a couple of weeks ago. And as he said, adults joined in, and that made it bad. That made it worse.
I could give you a similar situation on the leeward side. Particularly around CPA common entrance examination time, there's a little fracas between Leyu and Barley. So
it happens all over, Cecil.
All over St. Vincent and the Grenadines.
We're stretching it for gangs.
Yeah.
I just wanted to add that. Thanks
a lot, Lansford. Thanks, thank you very much, Lansford. All right. We don't have much time remaining, so I'm just going to I see Coach is trying to call us, but Coach, we can't really take you now. I'll see about later. Let me just read these few messages. This person saying, the issue with the kids of today started when politicians started intervening in how parents raise their children and telling them how to discipline their children. All the police is in school is not doing is going to make any difference. Okay, all right. Interesting. Read this one. This one would be of particular interest. It says, another enriching program, enlightenment from enriching and enlightening, I think. I'm trying to read what the post has here. Another enriching enlightenment from Lansford. Thank you for your works with the group Science and protection of our fragile environment and protection of our wildlife. We cannot give up trying. I have a special love for iguanas and have often intercepted young guys, not of Beckway because it is rare that people eat them here, walking the streets looking for them in trees that overhang the road. They don't get past me. Okay, good for you. Yes, Lance, you got that right about the rivalry between Harbour and Southside. By the way, this person is from Beckway, in case our friend is listening. So if a police is at the school, how is that officer going to be on the street too? That rivalry is even among boat racing. The story is rubbish. So that is what our friend from Beckway has written, which is consistent with what we all been seeing, of course, Lansford as well. So basically, those are the ones that come out. There's one here I need to read. I didn't see this one before. The person said, the law dealing with fishing in the USA is very strict. If you catch lobsters outside the restricted size and weight, that is an offense. If you catch more tuna than your quota, then you will be charged. That's the USA. Cecil, it was said that everything Speed did was deliberate and had to be cleared by his production team. That iguana trick has to be cleared and was deliberate. All right, Kojo, I can't really take more. Oh, let's take this one. Good afternoon. Welcome to the program.
Yes, Mr. Ryan. Hold on.
But she called too late today.
Yes, Mr. Ryan.
Good afternoon, our friend from Brighton. But you called too late today. The program just.
Well, I was trying a long time ago.
Oh, okay.
Now I'm trying to get
all
on
right,
there.
go ahead. With I don't think Karen would mind. We would accept it. Go ahead. Yes.
Anyhow, this iguana thing is going on a long time. Is that now? I walk in the road and I see people with these things in their hands. Publicly, they don't have them covered or anything.
No, well, don't forget, there's a season when people are permitted to hunt the iguana from October 1 to January 31. Well, so if you see people in that period, they are following the law.
I went up by a friend of mine in, I think it's January. And I passed some fellas knocking down some iguanas out of a tree.
That's illegal. That's the season was still on until end of January.
I don't know, but I think I'm now with these iguanas the level before. I have a small one that lives in my yard all the time.
And you feed it and so on?
And
you feed it and so on?
Well, when I see it, it disappears.
Oh, okay.
I see it once in a while, but not like very regular.
Okay.
It disappears.
Okay.
Anyhow, I think I have a passion fruit vine, and I think it lives in the passion fruit vine.
Okay.
So I can't catch it anyway. Anyways, Mr. Ryan.
You want to catch it?
No.
Okay.
No. I didn't know the iguana thing. I just see it and I leave it alone.
Okay.
However, which law of this country is the most important law? Could you explain that to me?
Well, I can't tell you which law is the most important one. All the laws are important. They are set. Once they're not in conflict with the Constitution, remember the Constitution is the highest law in the land. Any law that is not in conflict with the Constitution, once it is passed in Parliament, receive the treatment and signed off by the Governor General, then that becomes law. I mean, they're all equally important. They are of equal importance.
Our answer say no.
Sorry?
Which law got a citizen that is valid to run for prime minister in a country?
You have to call back next week. That's a long discussion. It's in, you have to go to the Constitution itself. And you have to read section 25, 26. And in relation to that, anybody wanting to change those sections have to do it according to section 38. Section 38, subsection 3, A and B. Just read those sections.
However, I know you can't go into that now because you're close to.
Yeah, the program ends already, actually.
We have a situation here where somebody holds citizenship in another country.
Yeah.
And right now is the prime minister in our country.
Yes.
How is that legal? Bye.
Oh, she's gone. Okay, just like that. She's posing a question for future discussion. And funny enough, she's posing that. And interestingly, I'm just going to make an observation. I noticed that Minister Bramble is on the he addressed the audience in Toronto on the trip with Invest SVG. So I noticed somebody was posing the question, which passport did he use to get to Canada? But obviously it's the Canadian passport from my deduction of it, because he would have had to, if he used the Vincentian passport, well, he couldn't, because once you type in the Vincentian passport at any airport, it would show up that you are carrying another passport. And once you show up, then, I mean, he would just use that passport. He might use the Vincentian passport to return, but he used to re-enter St. Vincent and the Grenadines. But to go to Canada, you'd have to use the Canadian passport.
Interesting.
Well, I guess that's fair enough, I guess.
Whenever he joins us, as he promised to, we could probably ask him.
Well, actually, I have to admit, I haven't followed up, so I don't know if we see. I can't take you now. I'm sorry. Can I? Well, no easy program end. Sorry, call next week. Closer to Carnival anyway. Call next week. We'll have more time to talk. In the meantime, we want to thank all those persons who have been on with us, the WEFM and ECTAN family, and whether it's through WEFM itself or through you're listening to Star FM or Garfin Radio, we thank you for being in company with us today, and we want to wish you all the best. And as we started, guidance for the rest of today and the rest of the week. Basically, that's it. And I just want to do this one while we go out. Yes.
Keep going. I feeling the pain. Yes, we keep pulling strain, but we must keep fighting. Regardless of how it comes, we can be on surrender.